Alright, so today I'm going to show you how I search for cars to flip. So first thing first, I'm on Craigslist here. What I'll do is I'll go into the for sale section here, go down to cars and trucks. So my formula is clicking owner, so we know most of these cars are going to be sold by owners or small private parties, sometimes dealers. Then I'll set my price range from as low as 250 to whatever the budget is. My budget currently is about 5,500, and for this amount, I usually plan on either making half of this or doubling it. It really depends on the car itself. So let's take a look. I'm gonna go ahead and search that. So I'm also gonna narrow down um, to manual, maybe on the first try. Look for something interesting. So this is what appears in this price range, 250 to 550. And let me go back here. I want to actually look up all SF Bay Area. So this is interesting. It's the $3,800 for a 2007 Audi. Right away, I know this is a pretty good deal, but it's a decent deal. I would say it's a good deal, but not a great deal. I'll have to find out why this is going for this much, because I think these cars usually go for upwards of 4,500 to 6,000, maybe even more, depending on the year. So this is a 6-speed. So let's click on that and have a look. So manual runs great. Okay, so I got it. This is almost 200,000 miles. So Shumos, the most, well, I guess this might be a car somebody's trying to flip as well, or just, well, from the picture I can't really tell, but it looks like a pretty decent car. It's got the cloth interior, everything's there. It's missing some center caps. The wheels are a little rough, but it's all original. So for that price, I guess for this many miles, might not be the best deal, because a lot of people don't really want to deal with high mileage cars. It's just, it doesn't matter how great they take care of it unless it's a really rare car. So for 2007, I mean, this is a pretty standard mileage, and it looks like they did the water pump and timing belts back in 170,000 miles. So 20,000 miles ago. The clutch is very good as well. So I'm gonna pass on this one and continue searching. I am I am a little bit afraid of dealing with European cars. Repairs are more costly. They do have more issues. So generally, I look for Japanese cars like Toyota, Honda, Nissan, Mazda. And looking down on this, there's a $4,900 Porsche Boxer. Let's take a look. Okay, first thing first, this is salvage. That is why this is that cheap. Watsonville, it's a little bit out of the area, so you kind of have to drive out of the Bay Area. Currently, it's in Monterey. This person doesn't check emails and will immediately take down once it's sold. Wow, this person is very straightforward. I like that. So the cons, it needs registration of almost $600. It needs smog, door locking issues, and salvage title. And the reason half the price out there, please. Okay, like I said, the clutch is also almost out. So even though this is a good priced vehicle here for a could be one day collectible car, it is salvage. Does need clutch. So I mean, for a little bit more, you could actually get a more sellable car. Let's take a look. Go back here. There's a Honda Fit here. Price is pretty standard for this. It's a manual. This is a good car. It always sells. Almost every time I look at the Honda Fit, if it's at a good price, it's gone in like the first day. So let's go down to this. Wow, there's a lot of Audis going for a really affordable pricing. This is 2003 though, so this is 20 years. So that's crazy. You can see how this car is the previous generation with the 6-speed. It's $5,000 versus this $3,200. This is the 1.8 turbo, so maybe that's the difference. This is a cool little truck for $2,000. Cash only. Best offer, 51,000 miles. It's got the V8 in there, 4-speed manual. This is actually a pretty cool car. You can't go wrong for $2,000 for a chunk of metal. Nowadays you get a piece of crap for about $3,000, and there's no collectability. There's nothing special about the car, and this is a pretty cool truck. Wow. If I had the ranch, I'd definitely pick this up. Be a nice farm truck. I've owned and maintained this truck since 1985. Wow, nice. Used for my property and local roads maintenance in San Jose. Still reliable workhorse. I'm selling out because neighbors have better equipment. I'm getting old. With this comes with a shopman parts man. Wow, this is not bad at all. I'm almost wondering how much you could sell this for on some of the more auction type website, eBay and such. So I'm just gonna keep this one here on the side, take a look later. So what I'll do is once I find something interesting, I'll open a new tab for that and take a look later. So coming down here, wow, this is not bad for a 2009 convertible. Wow, salvage. Wow, it's got some nice wheels. These are worth about at least $1,000. So that makes the car cost about $3,500. It's got a tuner in it. Manual is always a cool thing on these little sports cars. A lot of people who have just random few $1,000s spend, this is definitely not a bad price. But although this is a salvage car, so I'm gonna skip this for now. Coming back down to here, there's a 2010 wow convertible. Let's see what this looks like. This is actually pretty nice. It's an old lady's car. Couldn't imagine this lady driving this 6-speed here. Wow, that's a nice color too. Another thing I like too when I see these ads, I see older people. They're possibly just wanting to get rid of the car quickly, and they don't really want to deal with haggling with a high price. So yeah, so this is not bad at all. It's got a hardtop convertible. Wow, fancy. Look at that bag. Okay, so this is a 6-speed, so this is really awesome. So, and some of these older people, they actually take care of the car really well. And the reason this person is selling cars because they're relocating, must sell, returning to the Bay Area to sell the vehicle. Please, serious offer only. Needs alternator and minor body work. I didn't see any body work that's needed on here. So that's the thing. Sometimes you just have to see these cars in person to see what the issues is. So an alternator for one of these cars, I'm gonna say it's about $5,000. I mean, this car is $5,000, and for a BMW, I'll say $500 to $800 minimum. So this is, let's see, a 2010. So for almost $6,000. Let's see what a 2010 convertible is going for. Wow, $9,000 for this, low miles. So I would say definitely that car has potential if you're planning to make. Well, here's another one here. Going for $10,000, $12,000. If you're going to flip that and you have the budget to buy something like this, $5,500, $6,000, you get that repair, clean it up a little bit, bam, put it up for sale for $10,000, and you can make a quick profit of $4,000, give it a take. So that is a car that you could double. So I'm gonna put this aside and call my buddy about this car as well, because he is a BMW mechanic, so he knows the cost of roughly the repairs on that. Okay, coming down here, I always look at these cars and like, wow, these cars were like $80,000, and now that these cars are like 15 years old, They're 16 grand. You're getting a AMG CLS 550, making probably close to 300, 400 horsepower. This is awesome, but not in my price range, or it's not something I would like to flip. Wow. 78 Blazer, $28,000. Wow, love these seats here. Okay, let me continue going down here. There's some cool little classics that people are selling here. Wow. Cadillac Seville. I would throw some lowrider 13s, Daytons on this and call it a day. This is a nice car to drive around. Definitely not for a flip. Oh, that looks like a one owner pickup truck. 5 grand though. It's not really room there. There's not really any room for a flip. So let's see. So that's it for the manual. Actually, I'm on the wrong page. Gotta go back to this one here. Keep going here. Pickup truck. I did look at this previously. This is a 4x4 pickup truck, 200,000 miles. This is not very common. It's a Mazda or Mitsubishi Mighty Max. They actually made an SUV version of this. I believe is the Montero. This is the V6 with the manual transmission and 4x4. Here, this is where you can set the drivetrain to 2-wheel drive or 4-wheel drive. Looks like original paint. So there's a little bit of water stains here. I'm not sure what that is from, but seems like it's pretty well taken care of. It's got the old school pull lever for the handbrake. It's got a functional or updated radio. V6 motor. This thing probably gets about 15 miles per gallon, but it's a work truck, and for the price it's not bad. I mean, you can't go wrong with anything below $3,000 if it's a runner and good shape and clean title. Tires are new, price to sell. Interior, it's like new, everything works. Transmission in great shape, no mechanic issues. Wow. So I will also save this one here. This is a good one here. I'm thinking if this truck was presented in a way where it's a little bit more sellable, I don't know if that's the right word for it, but just a little bit more attractive, what I would do to this truck here is probably paint the bumpers once again, maybe with some black paint, matte black paint, or rhino liner. Maybe update the stickers here. It's gonna make it pop. Paint these windshield wipers here, and then basically just get these wheels cleaned up. It's gonna help a lot. Maybe paint them silver or white. If possible, if I find any all-terrains, I would throw that on. Maybe clean up these lenses here. They probably look better orange. They just look really worn there, so it's just minor. This here, I might go buy a decal for this. So this is pretty good. It's a pretty good candidate there. Okay, so I've seen this around. This is a shell, $1,500. Crazy. All right, not a bad price. Guess if you're looking to flip. There's a wrecked rare 1995 540. Wow. Okay, I better skip that one. Okay, there's a pickup truck here, $1,500, running but needs framework. That's something that people don't really want to deal with. Looks like the back part's been hit. It would have been a good truck if it was fully intact. Okay, so $1,900 for this truck. It's got a rebuilt 350 V8. Keep in mind this is a project. It does run and drive great. Perfect project, huh? New clutch, new battery. Wonder what the issue is. This is pretty, not a bad price. $1,500. The interior definitely needs some work. The outside looks good. The door does look a little dinged up. It's not a bad truck for 1,500 bucks. It's got 250,000 miles. And I believe there is a market for these trucks nowadays. Wow, less than 2 grand. Let's see, 5-speed manual. Rebuilt everything. Wow. Lowering kit. So you might have to get more information on this one. This is a good price. I'm gonna save this here. So right now I got about 5 of these up here, and what I'll do is I basically find about 4 or 5 of these. If there's decent options, I'll wait out the time it'll take to get the car, to the tip-top shape that is resellable for profit, and go from there. But let me see, because I'm still on the first page of the search. I'm gonna see what they have for a renter for 5 grand. That's the going rate. Okay, Miata, it's also a really good car to sell, but this is definitely overpriced and it looks a little beat up there. It's got a bunch of random parts. The thing is, on these cars you want to find them original and not modified. This is not a bad price for an 08 Honda Element. I myself have one of these and they're up in value. Okay, passenger seat boot replaced, so you gotta do the CV boots, which is easy. I could do that for about, the parts about 180, 200. Labor, it'll take me about 2 hours or so. Oh, it has rust on the passenger door, undercarriage that needs to be sanded down, hence the low price. Okay, get it. Okay, this is the affected area. Doesn't seem so bad. Maybe you could sand that down and run a strip of Rhino liner paint. This is the cool 5-speed. Does seem like this is the front wheel drive, so might not be the best flip. So I'm gonna keep going here. So I'm just gonna find one more candidate and go ahead and explain to you about the margins on these resale. And a lot of times I see these cars, they're out here posted not even that long ago, but the problem is there's a lot of people bidding on the same car. They were interested in looking at the car, so you have to be quick. First of all, you have to word your respond a certain way. You have to write to the seller, and if they have a number, call it right away. That's if you're serious and you're ready to buy, make a deal. The problem is because there's so many people trying to buy the cars, and the seller doesn't really want to deal with 100 people, so they'll find somebody that it's easy to deal with, that's not going to lowball them, and basically something they could do while they're available as well, because then sometimes you're available but they're not. Wow, this is pretty cool. It's a Volkswagen Passat with the W8 motor for 3 grand, and it's a manual. I bet this is rare. There's definitely a market for this, but I don't know anything about these cars. And this person says it runs, but it randomly backfires. Sounds like a pretty cool problem to have. Jeep, got the $5,000 Jeep here, so a little bit cut up. Okay, this is a cool 70s BMW, under 5 grand. I've seen this before. For some reason this car is not selling. I'm not sure what the issue is. Needs paint, nice wheels and tires, bare metal for prime, qualify for historical registration, no more buy yearly. Really? 77 and classic qualifies for historical registration. I gotta look that up. This is pretty cool. It says 1 out of 432 built for the US, because it's got the 4-speed manual, 3-liter. Wow, I would get that car if I have the time and money to fix that up. This is another cool car for 3,200. I'm not sure why it's that low. Usually these cars are about 7 to 8 grand minimum. It's got an auto tranny equipped, goes with the car, converted to a 4-speed. It's got the AC and power brakes. It's been stored since '85 up until 2022. It's rust free. It's got the old plates. Worth restoring. Out of the system. And it's in the middle of nowhere. Maybe that's the reason why. And you have to tow this away. So definitely a no for this one, unless you have the resources to do that. Alright, so far I'm not seeing anything else that's worthy. This is 2200. It's a manual. I believe this is a two-wheel drive, not a four-wheel drive. The mileage is a little high, 300,000. Skip that. There's a Civic Si here. Wow, for $2,000. Wonder what the deal is. Does not start or run. Does not get no spark. Still turns over, but no spark. Change spark plug, still no spark. Needs registration for $650, so that's about $3,000 already. Passenger decide to do a hit and run. Not a good one. Look at the bent body panels. That car does have a market, so it would be a good resale if it was actually running. There's a cool little Corolla here for $5,000. Stick as well. Ripped seats, not a big deal. Wow, this is nice. Got the original motor. It says it's the running 2TC with the 4-speed. It's got the Washington title, so that's another thing that you would have to deal with if you're registering in the state of California. That could be a hassle. So not bad if somebody's were to build this car, but this car does not have smog because it's a 75. So not bad at all. Miata for $4,000. What's the deal with this? I think this is the one where it had a issue. I think I've seen this as well. Driver door, card, and fender. Sluggish, hot start. Okay. Out of state vehicle with a bit of issues. Alright, so $5,000. Honda Pro. This is pretty good price. Runs well, daily driver. Navy interior. It is sold. This is a good price for this, especially with the way this looks. So I think this car actually, the 240D is non-turbo, so it doesn't go for as much, but for $2,000 you can't go wrong with this. You could sell this for $3,500 all day if you're able to present the car in a very enticing way. Alright, so not a bad price for a runner. $2,500. Sidekick. If this is a four-wheel drive, this could be a good resale here, but that seemed to be just pretty standard. This is a scammer alert. So the one thing you have to look up is scams information. That's wow. This is crazy. His name is Joey Stereo with the phone number. We gave him a deposit of his car. He flew out to California to purchase it. On the day we arrived on the doorstep, he ghosted us and later texted that his dad just had suddenly died. He said he would refund our deposit, never was. Filed for the report and it was pursuing action. Crazy. So I did see this car where it said it was supposed to be able to get 55 miles per gallon on that. $2,000 legacy for $2,000. Wow, this is really cheap. There must be some problems. Check engine light, cosmetic. So some kind of check engine light issue. Could be the O2 or the catalytic converter, which will cost upwards of $500 to $1,200 if it's that. If it's not, this is a pretty cool little 5-speed, and it hasn't been sold, so I think that's the final price this person is asking, which is not bad considering I sold a 2004 or 3 with more mileage than this for $5,000, and that is for $2,000. There's that Boxer S again. I believe this is the one we just saw. Salvage title. Needs the new clutch. Wow, $3,000 for a 5 series from 1985. These are cool because a lot of people are starting to get the liking of vintage, anything that's over 30 years old with manual gearbox. This one has an issue here on the fender, but overall it's pretty solid. And complete car, doesn't say if it's running or not, so I'm gonna take that as a no, because that is definitely a selling point when the car is running. Alright, so let's take a look at what I found. This is a 72 International, maybe IH. Is this a Dodge or could be International? Really cool dump truck for $2,000. It's got 50,000 miles. V8, 4-speed. How much would you be able to sell this? I'm guessing for somebody that loves trucks, and if this is an actual runner with no other issues, this could go for $5,000 to $6,000. I mean, this is a pretty cool type of truck. It's got the working truck bed, so I would have to do more research on this type of vehicle, but you can't go wrong for $2,000. And yes, you can still get parts for it. That is so cool. Maintaining trucks since 1985. Alright, let's take a look. If you were to spend $2,000 on the car, another $1,000 on new tires, registration, you're at $3,000. Then the paint here is pretty original. Maybe you don't want to mess with that, or maybe you have this. I could tell the actual color was yellow and they just painted over it. You could just leave it that way. Maybe rough it up a little bit to get the patina on there to look cooler. Maybe it could be a company truck for somebody for marketing. That could go for $5,000. I would say $5,000 to $6,000. Maybe start around that price. So solid $2,000 profit. And then this one here, 120,000 miles. Pretty cool little convertible. It's a really nice color. The interior is perfect from the pictures. So posted about 21 hours. So I would have to say $5,000. You spend about $1,000 doing the alternator and getting your registration. Maybe not the registration, just miscellaneous. Spend about $6,000. Put this up for 10 to 11. See if you get any interest. So this is a solid $3,000 flip. But this part here, it's not clear what kind of body work it needs. But if it says minor, usually it's just dings and stuff like that on the bumpers, maybe the fender. I'm gonna continue here. $3,000 truck. I mean, the paint on this, on these panels, you see how this is really bad, uneven. You could make it a bit nicer. You probably spend about no more than $50 doing this. And then some of the nasty areas here, you could paint over that. So I would inspect this truck for rust, because I mean, this is just a work truck, but it will look better with some undercoating on it and some graphics. Maybe you've spent about $70, $50 on the paint, masking tape, some new graphics. I might even invest in a cool 80s style graphics on this. So about $100, $150. If you find a used set of tires, about $150 to $200, you're out roughly $500, and some paint on the wheels. Spend $3,500, and $3,500 is still fairly cheap for a pickup truck that's running. And if this is a 4x4 with the manual transmission, it could go about 45 to 5. So I'll have to do a little bit of research on this car to see how this truck can be sold with the amount of work that is needed. I mean, it doesn't need any work, it's just more like cosmetic and being able to present this truck in a way. This person's here, not bad. I'll do a little more research on this. And this $1,900 truck, it's also another good buy, I believe. It's a rear-wheel drive. You could keep it that way or throw some rally wheels on it. And if you go on the Craigslist wheel and tire section, you could definitely find something affordable to throw on this. With the upgrades alone, this is probably over $2,000 worth of work, so this is a good buy for $1,900. And if we want to quickly look it up to see what a GMC Sierra goes for, let's see, GMC Sierra or Chevy. There's this diesel model. There's a regular long bed 2K, pretty rough shape. Chevy truck. I believe trucks are really useful. A lot of people don't mind having a truck. Let's see, Chevy truck, 1990. Oh yeah, $5,000 for a random POS truck like this. Might not sell, but you know what the rate is. This is a 2-wheel drive as well, and this is what you want it to look like when you sell these. It's all original with some steelies on it. Wow, drives amazing. And that truck's got the 5-speed and the parts in there. Yeah, so this truck actually could go for about $4,000 to $5,000. So maybe you'll spend some money on the details. This could be spray paint. You can see some of the overspray. Not a bad deal though for that price. I would have to say a solid $2,000 on the flip, and maybe spend some money on just checking on what it needs on the mechanical side. So anyways, thanks for watching this video. This is just a quick tip on how to find a vehicle to flip, and how much profit you're expected to make. Generally it's not too hard to find something that you can make money on. I mean, even something that you're gonna make $500 on, but of course you want to be able to at least double how much you pay for these, and make sure you have budget to do the cosmetic or mechanical upgrades, so it makes it easier to sell. So anyways, thanks for watching. If you want any more tips, or you have any comments, please comment any questions, or subscribe to the channel. And thanks for watching. Whoops, let me end this video.